Well, the second decade of the 21st century has been a very difficult one for the Eastern Mediterranean. The whole region has been unraveling as a result of a number of changes. Perhaps the most important has been the so-called Arab revolts in a number of countries. Most of them have not been successful, only one exception, Tunisia. But now we have a number of brutal civil wars in places like Syria and Libya. And on top of that, we have the decline of the European Union, or rather the domestic economic and political problems, which have affected its ability to influence developments in the Mediterranean and the whole of its neighborhood, both in the east and in the south. We also have economic problems in the south, like the spike in food prices, rising unemployment, demographic challenges, and in the last couple of years, the emergence of a hybrid actor, the Islamic State, which is more than just a Islamic terrorist organization. It's an offspring of Al-Qaeda, but it is more than that. They have managed, exploiting local weaknesses and the civil war, both in Syria but also the problems in Iraq. They have managed to establish a territorial presence in parts of those two countries, and the aim is the establishment of the caliphate, or the re-establishment of the caliphate. And to do that, they have to change the borders. They have actually said several times that the so-called Sykes-Picot Agreement, which created the modern Middle East back in 1916, is now officially over, and that they will expand their presence and influence in many countries of the region, including, for example, Libya and Algeria and Jordan. They have been moderately successful. There has been a coalition of countries trying to prevent that, including the US, but also most of the Arab regimes. But they're still there. The civil war continues in Syria with tremendous loss of life, and also waves of refugees going to neighboring countries like Turkey, Lebanon, and Jordan, or to the European Union, which has been faced in the last few months with increasing numbers of refugees and migrants from both Africa, the Middle East, and parts of Asia, and that makes it now a top priority for the European Union. And obviously there are no easy solutions. The EU cannot take them all, but cannot ignore them either. And the question is, how do you manage the problem? Do you provide asylum to all those that have the right on asylum, and what do you do about the others? Difficult questions. There is also the concern of radicalization in Muslim communities in the EU, and this links with terrorist challenges. So the whole southern neighborhood is practically up in the air, and the problem is that the US is also looking for ways to reduce its military presence in the region. There's very little sub-regional cooperation. There have been one or two triangular schemes involving Greece, Cyprus, and Israel on the one hand, and then Greece, Cyprus, and Egypt on the other, and this may merge at some point and form a square. The missing link here is Turkey. The major challenge for the EU is to redesign its southern policy, identify areas of priority. Obviously, the EU cannot, or any single actor cannot, deal with all the problems. They have to prioritize, and it seems to me that countries like Egypt and Iraq would be the ideal countries to start with. And then the other challenge will be to start working with other actors, including NATO, but also the African Union and selected Arab countries. That division of labor is, in my mind, the only way to deal with the region's problems.